Hello and welcome back to Pro Training Systems. Today we are going to take a deeper dive into understanding latitude and longitude. So grab a comfortable spot and let's get started. Using latitude and longitude, you can locate any specific point on Earth by using a set of only two numbers. You may ask, why do I need to know this stuff? The answer is, it appears on your FAA Drone Part 107 exam. So let's get started learning about latitude and longitude. Lines of latitude encircle the globe parallel to the equator, like this. On charts, they are the horizontal lines. Lines of longitude connect the north and south poles and are shown as vertical lines. We can specify any point on Earth by finding the intersection of a line of longitude and a line of latitude. Let me show you. As you know, the equator is the horizontal line around the Earth that splits the globes into two halves. Those two halves are the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. The United States is in the northern hemisphere. For your Part 107 test, the United States will be the only area you need to learn about. Now, the equator is the starting point for the latitude's number system. Latitude lines are identified as degrees. So the equator has a latitude of 0 degrees. At the North Pole, the latitude is 90 degrees north. So between the equator, which is 0 degrees, and the North Pole, which is 90 degrees, there are 90 individual degrees of latitude. They are numbered 1 through 90 degrees. On your sectional map, you will see something like this. As we zoom in, you will notice a horizontal highlighted line on the map. This line is marked as 32 degrees of latitude. The vertical line that intersects the highlighted one is a line of longitude, and it is marked as 96 degrees longitude. Again, the United States is the only area of the map you will need to concern yourself with when taking your exam. Since the United States has an approximate latitude and longitude range from west 19.5 to 64.8 west latitude and from north 161.7 to north 68 longitude, these are the areas that will be on your test. Lines of longitude connect the poles. Longitude is also written and read in degrees. And just as the equator is the origin for latitude, we have an origin for longitude. The line of origin for longitude is called the prime meridian. The prime meridian runs north and south through Greenwich, England. This line is also called the pole prime meridian because it separates the Earth into the eastern and western hemispheres. The United States is in the western hemisphere. Remember that the U.S. is the only part of the world you will need to learn about for your FAA Part 107 exam. So to recap, the United States is in the northern and western sections of the globe, or the northern and western hemispheres. Here is the United States on a sectional chart. Now that you understand degrees of latitude and longitude, let's look at step 2 in locating a more exact position using latitude and longitude. Because we need to be more precise than a large space between latitude and longitudinal lines, there are smaller dividing increments available for us to use. They are called minutes and seconds. For now, we are going to talk about minutes, as those will be what you see on your Part 107 exam the most. Now, normally when you think of the word minutes, you think of time. right? Well, for latitude and longitude, you have to think of the term minutes not as time, but as distance. So a minute on a sectional map designates a certain distance instead of a certain amount of time. There are 60 of these distance minutes in each degree on the sectional map. These distance minutes are shown on latitude and longitude lines as small tick marks, and they look something like this. Notice that every fifth tick mark is just slightly larger. Also note that every 10th tick mark is even larger still. This is just to make it easier to count the minutes of distance on a navigational chart. So let's look at this on a sectional chart like one you might see on your exam. Here you see tick marks or minutes of distance on a chart. Here is the intersection of a pair of coordinates. The coordinates are 41 degrees north and 118 degrees west. Here is the longitude of 41 degrees 1 minute north. And here's the latitude of 118 degrees 2 minutes west. So using minutes of latitude and longitude, we can calculate a more precise location at any point on the Earth. Now remember how we said that minutes on a sectional map measure distance and not time? Well, there is even a more precise set of tick marks on some charts. They are in between the minute marks and they are called seconds. For the Part 107 exam, you will need to be familiar with seconds, but you probably won't have to count on a chart in seconds. All the test questions we've seen will allow for using just degrees and minutes. You would read this set of coordinates as north 41 degrees 1 minute and 0 seconds by west 118 degrees 2 minutes 0 seconds. So let's do a quick review. Lines of longitude connect the north and south poles. Lines of latitude go around the Earth parallel to the equator. We can define any specific point on Earth where these lines, as well as the minute and second lines, cross. A good thing to remember is that on sectional charts, lines appear every 30 minutes, and each tick mark shown on these lines represent 1 minute. Practice on your own sectional chart. This should become easier. There are a number of test questions about this on your FAA written exam, so brush up on it before you take your Part 107 test. Thank you for watching this module of your training course.